Well, welcome back to FOXSOUL's Black Report. Well, there's a global call to sports leagues around the world to boycott one company.
Yeah, this comes after it was discovered that there's a major lack of diversity in leadership. We're talking about Panini America. Panini got its start back in 1954 and is still considered a leader in sports trading cards and other collectibles. Now, the organization, Until Freedom, penned an open letter to the company calling on them to do an immediate reform of its hiring process.
And the leader of this movement is Tamika Mallory, who's also co-founder of the nonprofit Until Freedom. She joins us now to further break down this problematic culture of overlooked leadership. Welcome, Tamika. Thanks for being here on FOXSOUL's Black Report.
Thank you so much for having me.
So one thing, let's start with this. Can you tell us why Black America should be concerned about the sports collectibles company?
I think Black America should be concerned about the issue of inequity in all corporate spaces. Panini represents one of many companies that needs to do better with its diversity, inclusion, equity and inclusion practices. And so, by us talking about Panini, it's not anything different from when we've had to have these conversations with Verizon, when we've had these conversations with many companies, American Airlines. And now here we are looking at a company that has 75% of its business based upon contracts with African American athletes, and yet no senior leadership that represents the same community. It's problematic, and I think it's a no-brainer for folks to understand why it's something that has to be called out and addressed.
Indeed. Tamika, talk to us a little bit about the letters you wrote to the Sports and Entertainment Collectibles organization.
So we wrote a letter to them hoping that they will realize that there is a need for immediate change. There's a need for them to bring in some company that can help them to look at retention and also look at the matriculation within their company for Black employees that work there. Why are they not rising to senior level leadership positions? What are their hiring practices? Where is their recruitment pool coming from? I mean, there are many questions that I think need to be answered immediately. And we sent the letter hoping that they will be responsive. But, anyone who knows the work that I do and the work of my organization, Until Freedom, and also our partner in this effort is Pastor Mike McBride, who leads the Black Church PAC. And working together, we certainly won't stop at one letter. We will ensure that, as the days continue, we increase this campaign and continue to engage players, some of the different leagues. We're going to send letters to the NFL and all the leagues where their players are signing with Panini. And furthermore, we will make sure that everyday citizens are aware of what's happening and that their voices are heard as well.
We see a lot of diversity, equity, and inclusion headlines these days. Many companies and state leaders are reevaluating diversity and inclusion divisions. Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Well, it depends on which way you're leaning. I mean, there are some states where we know, if you think about a state like Florida, its governor is trying to get people to review those policies and find ways to decrease the level, if not eliminate completely, diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts. But then there are other states where people are really working towards trying to be intentional about their DEI efforts. What I will say is that it's important for us to remember where the renewed commitment to being more intentional in this space started. It was around the summer of 2020, after the murder of George Floyd. Companies overwhelmingly had a choir coming forward to say, hey, we've got to do better. We need to be more engaged. We need to use the power within our companies to help communities. And certainly if you have 75% of your business being on the talent and the backs of African American people, whether you made the commitment or not, we're going to help you see that there is an issue, that it's inequitable, and we need to raise the veil, not just on Panini, but many companies who have tried to stay in the background and not not use their resources and the influence of their superpower brand to support communities that are aligned with and attached to their consumer base and their business structure.
Indeed.